Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Stormworks. We're once again working on our oil rig. You guys can see I got some slurry filters placed down here. So that's kind of what we're going to start working towards in the next couple of episodes. So this is going to be kind of a longer process. This is one of the bigger parts of the oil rig that you need to get done. So if you didn't know, you have to pump slurry or mud in the wellhead as you're drilling into the ground and then pump it out. So we're going to put a filter system in so we can carry our own mud and then clean it. The first step to this is we need to get some fresh water. So that's kind of what we're going to start working on now. And then later on, we'll move on into the slurry tanks and the slurry filters. And those aren't going to stay there. I just kind of place them because that's the general layout that I want. And I found that that's going to be enough cleaning power for us to run continuously. So right now I am just kind of putting a hole in the deck, and we're going to start figuring out our freshwater systems. So we're going to hop right into the build for this one. Before I do that, real quick, if you guys like this series, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Also, there's a link down below to my Discord. We have a helicopter challenge going on if you haven't seen that. That's actually for the oil rig. So you guys have until February 13th to get those in. There's a workshop template that I have on my Steam page that you guys can follow. It has a physics sensor and then kind of some size limitations for what you guys can build. But that's enough of that. We're going to get right into the build, and real quick, I am just going to start working on getting a large freshwater tank in here and setting up some desalinators, and then we'll move on to the slurry. Okay, so we got our tank in place, and I'll be honest, some of this kind of changes. I do make the tank bigger and a little bit more round. I wasn't liking how square it was. Right now, what I'm doing is I'm adding a winch and a pulley system into the bottom of this tank because if you remember from the last couple episodes, our entire platform raises itself up on some tracks, and so we need to find a way to pump water from the ocean up into this, and you can't do that with rigid pipes. So what I'm doing here is I'm kind of just setting up some pulleys that are going to go to the side of the oil rig, and they are going to go into some fluid ports that are below the ocean level. So one of the things that does change is I switch this onto the inside of the oil rig just so it's a little bit more protected. It can't really get ran into or anything, but that's what this is for. So originally, I kind of had this as a separate physics body that is going to lower itself down further into the water, but later on it's just going to be rigid and stuck to the side of the oil rig. So what we need to do here really is we need to pump in ocean water, salt water, and then we need to put it through a desalinator to get the fresh water. And then the fresh water is going to get put into the slurry filters. If you haven't used the slurry filters before, basically they have 4 different fluid ports. They have a fresh water in, a fresh water out, and then a dirty slurry in and a clean slurry out. So they need clean slurry to clean water to clean the slurry up. And that way we can kind of recycle the slurry and keep using the oil rig without really needing resupplies and whatnot. So this lower half of the tank that I just closed off is going to be dedicated to seawater. We don't really need much seawater on board. The rest is all going to just be fresh water. And this is also going to be our main freshwater tank for the interior of the ship, all of our fire pumps, that kind of thing. So, I mean, technically speaking, you could use seawater for the fire pumps, but I'm not going to do that. In a realistic sense, this probably wouldn't be ideal if you don't have to do it because salt water is very corrosive. So we're going to go ahead and use the fresh water, and then I'm going to have to use a lot of desalinators. They work pretty slow in this game, but I think it's pretty important to obviously be able to use all of the water supply systems that you need without having to wait for more water to get made. So we need enough desalinators to run the slurry filters nonstop. And then I want a little bit more so you don't ever lose water to fire pumps. And inside later on, there's going to be like some showers and sinks and whatnot, that too. So we need to make this tank rather large. It's going to be not super big, but we need to make sure that it can keep up with all of our systems, and that is going to require a lot of desalinators. So we're going to go ahead and make this look a little bit better. I'm not super pleased with how it looks right now, and then we will get back to you and start working on some of the slurry stuff. All right, so we got the winch kind of set up. It's pumping seawater into the tank now, so we got to add desalinators. And you guys will also notice from when I spawned it in the world that we were leaning over quite a lot, and that is going to be a recurring problem with the oil rig. So a few things that I did, obviously me speaking from the future, you guys will see it later on, but we do the classic sliding weight stabilizers that some people like to do in their ships. So each pontoon is going to get a weight that goes forward and back, and then also left and right. So we'll have that, and then I do some propeller stabilizers, and then also, typically I'm not a fan of the XML stuff, but I added some negative weight boosters into the bottom of the pontoons, and that is really just because we're so limited on size here that if we weren't, I would just extend the pontoons down, make them a little bit more floaty, and then add more weight to them. But we can't really do that because we're already maxed out on the height limit of this thing, and it's still folding. So that's kind of a bigger concern. There's no easy way to get around that. So there is some negative mass rocket boosters, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, essentially you can take the rocket boosters and convert them into a negative mass, which will make obviously the pontoons a little bit more floaty and help this thing stay floating more. But as of right now, you guys can see that the little winch things are working. It's sending the whatever you want to call this thing down into the water deeper so we can suck up seawater. And like I said earlier, that'll kind of get fixed and placed onto the inside of the pontoon so it doesn't really get banged up or, kind of messed with and stuff. I also make it part of the actual pontoon just to kind of reduce some of the physics bodies going on with the oil rig. As we build this thing, it's going to get very, very complex, and I'm kind of trying to stay away from a lot of physics bodies. I know a lot of you mentioned putting, like weapons on this and stuff. I know you guys love to see weapons. I promise you, we have a couple military builds coming up soon. So just give me some time. I'm trying to get a little ahead on those, but you guys will see that later on. But because of that, we're not going to put any weapons on this. It doesn't need it. It's just a industrial oil platform. So we got to fix our catwalk up, and while we're doing that, I'll just talk a little bit more on that, I guess. So I do have a frigate in the works that you guys will see a little bit more down the road. That's going to be a little bit later on. Right now, I'm working on a military aerial tanker, and I'm trying to figure out how to turn it into an AWACS, basically. So if you guys are in my Discord, you've probably seen photos of that thing, but right now, it's going to be a VTOL. It's very large. It fits 2 cargo containers in it. I'm trying to get a little bit more work done on it before I start getting it on YouTube, just because the planes, generally, there are a lot of coding, and, that's not really great for the videos. Unless you guys really want to see that, let me know. I can kind of try to record some of that and walk you through a little bit of it. But in the meantime, we are just going to be, rocking with some oil rig videos. I'm going to start our next series as soon as I think, I got the plane at a good point and I'm quite a bit ahead. I like to do that, if you don't know, so you guys get a consistent amount of videos coming out, and I don't have to skip anything, and I also don't feel pressured to kind of play for a couple hours. Usually these videos are about an hour or 2 of build time, so you can kind of do the math. If there's 15 videos in the series, I probably spent 30 to 40 hours on the vehicle. But yeah, so you guys have that to look forward to. I think it's a pretty cool build. It looks really unique. It is going to be militarized. It's going to have weapons on it. It's very different. So you guys will be able to see that eventually. I'll try to get that started as soon as I can on YouTube, like I said. But after that, we also have a frigate, and I am going to absolutely load that thing to the teeth with weapons. So I know for a lot of you asking for the weapons and stuff, definitely stick around, stay tuned for that. That is coming. It'll probably be a couple months, I'll be honest, but you guys will start to see that, and I think it looks really cool, and I have some pretty cool ideas for weapons I can put on it. So if there's anything else, smaller builds that you'd like to see in the meantime, let me know, and maybe I can get those done quick and onto YouTube. But for the most part, this is not going to be a militarized build. Now, on the topic of the helicopters, for the helicopter challenge, you guys are more than welcome to make a military helicopter. I don't care. As long as it fits on the helipad that we have, you're more than welcome to submit it. I just want some helicopters to use and that are kind of small and compact. I think it's a fun challenge for you guys, so that's why we're doing it. But enough of that. We are kind of cleaning up this catwalk a little bit. I just copy and pasted some of these paint blocks. I had to move it around this tank because it was kind of in the way of the catwalk. And I want you to be able to kind of walk around the entire bottom side of this. So the shape of this catwalk will change quite a bit as we build, just because there's a lot of stuff that needs to go on down here. But this is, for the most part, what our water system is going to look like. It doesn't look like we're going to have time to get into the slurry systems today, so the next episode we're going to start doing the slurry stuff, and for that we're going to have to place 2 different slurry tanks, a clean one and a dirty one, and then we're going to have to route it over to our filters, and then the filters are going to take quite a lot of plumbing because we got to pump fresh water in and out of them, and then we have to pump dirty slurry into them and clean slurry back. And then after we do that, we have to get the slurry to pump up into the pump jack, and that's a whole other process that we'll kind of talk about down the road. But I'm going to quit yapping for now, and we're going to let the time lapse roll a little bit more, and then I will come and talk at the end of the video like we usually do. All right, so let's get this into the world and kind of check out what we've done today. So I know we've been working for a while on this water tank. I do apologize, but it's a pretty important part of our ship. So I just want to make sure our winches are going at a good speed, and you guys can see that I moved those fluid ports on the inside of the ship like I mentioned earlier in the video. And I will go ahead and kind of worry about the pumps and whatnot in off camera, so don't worry about all that. Also, just like I mentioned earlier, the leaning kind of issue, that'll kind of get resolved. You guys will probably see a lot of leaning issues in the videos as we build this, but you guys can see I think that looks pretty neat. I'm probably going to kick those pulleys out another block just so it's a perfect 90 degrees. I think it'll look a little bit nicer, but yeah, we got the whole rig lifting itself up right now, and we have these in a good spot. They're nice and under the water, so they shouldn't have a problem sucking the water up into the tank, and then it can get filtered for us. But that is just about all we have for this one. So if you guys stayed to the end, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Helps our channel out a lot. And before I go, just a couple quick things is, like I said earlier in the episode, if you want to participate in that helicopter build challenge, check out the links below. And that is pretty much all I got for you guys today. So thank you so much, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.